What if I told you that one of the world's most important inventions didn't come from Europe, didn't come from Asia, but existed in Africa, centuries before the world claimed to discover it? Not copied, not borrowed, but created out of necessity, intelligence, and deep understanding of nature. Long before laboratories, patents, or textbooks, African communities were already experimenting, observing, refining, and innovating. And one of those inventions quietly shaped the modern world. But history barely whispers its name. Long before microscopes revealed bacteria, long before modern medicine understood immunity, African societies were already practicing controlled immunization. Yes, immunization. In parts of West Africa, generations ago, communities understood something powerful, that exposure, when done carefully, could protect life. During outbreaks of smallpox, a disease that devastated entire regions, African healers developed a method known today as variolation. They observed patterns. They noticed that survivors rarely fell ill again. They studied the body not through machines, but through lived experience. So they did something radical. They took material from a mild smallpox sore and introduced it carefully into healthy individuals, often through tiny cuts in the skin. Risky? Yes, but controlled, measured, intentional. And it worked. The mortality rate among those treated this way was far lower than among those left unprotected. This wasn't guesswork. It wasn't superstition. It was early medical science, built on observation, testing, and community knowledge. African healers didn't call it immunology. They didn't write journals or publish papers. But they understood the principle. The body could be trained to defend itself. Centuries later, this same practice appeared in Europe. But here's the twist. It didn't originate there. The knowledge traveled through enslaved Africans, traders, and oral testimony. In the early 1700s, an African man named Onesimus, enslaved in colonial America, explained this very practice to his enslaver. He described how it was done in his homeland, how it saved lives, how it was trusted knowledge. At first, European doctors resisted it. They doubted it. They dismissed it, until epidemics forced their hand. When variolation was finally adopted in Europe and later refined into vaccination, the narrative changed. New names were attached, new credit was given, new histories were written. Africa faded from the story. And when modern vaccination was formalized, the African origins were quietly left out of textbooks, not because the knowledge wasn't real, but because the world didn't expect scientific innovation to come from Africa. Yet this wasn't an isolated case. African societies developed surgical techniques, herbal pharmacology, bone-setting methods, and disease control systems, without hospitals, machines, or electricity. Their laboratories were forests. Their data was memory. Their peer review was survival. If something didn't work, people died. If it worked, it was preserved, taught, and passed down. That's science at its most honest. What makes this story powerful isn't just the invention itself. It's what it reveals. That innovation doesn't require modern buildings. It requires curiosity, observation, and courage. That African knowledge systems were not primitive. They were precise, functional, and effective. And that history didn't forget these inventions by accident. It simply chose which stories to amplify. Today, billions of people benefit from immunization. Entire diseases have been reduced or eradicated. And at the root of it lies an idea humanity learned long ago, an idea Africa already understood. So the next time someone says Africa only received knowledge, remember this. Some of the world's most life-saving ideas were already alive there, long before the world decided to discover them. History didn't erase African intelligence. It just stopped telling the story. Until now.